In this lecture, we're going to be doing a quick practice for those who are interested in importing Illustrator files into 3D Max, such as graphic designers, and having, let's say, an example of a logo and doing it in 3D. In my case, I'm just going to go through the Max. I'm going to go to Illustrator, and this is my company logo. I'm going to import it to 3D Max. So this is an Illustrator file saved as an AI file. But make sure when you save it as Illustrator file, just make sure go to File, Save As, and when you save it as Illustrator file, for example, in here, okay, make sure you go Illustrator 3. Because if you save it as Illustrator 2020 or maybe a newer version, okay, sometimes Max will not be able to load it. So make sure you save it the oldest version you have Illustrator, which is Illustrator 3, so that we import the vectors to 3D Max. That's perfect. So I'm just going to go to 3D Max. I'm going to go File, Import, and in this case, I'm going to also import, which is a non-native Max files. Instead of importing DWG file, I'm going to just import an Illustrator file, which is this. Open. Now, it's going to ask me, do you want to completely replace the scene or merge it with another scene? If I do have a scene and I want to import this logo inside the scene I'm working with, I have to merge. In my case, it doesn't matter if I put merge or completely replace, it's going to be the same because I'm working with a new scene. So I'm going to say completely replace. Now, the other option that says if you want to have a single object, so all the vectors going to be attached to each other, or you want each vector to be separated from each other. In my case, I'm going to ask them to be multiple objects, but definitely if you ask them to be multiple, then you have to attach some of them. If you say single object, then you have to detach part of them. So it depends which way you want to work. So in my case, I'm just going to work the other way. So I'm going to have them separated, and then I'm going to attach the ones that need to be attached. So multiple objects. So this is my logo. Great. And as you can see, each vector is separated. So in my case, I'm just going to select this. I'm going to go attach. I'm going to attach the inner of the P. Same thing, the O. Just going to attach these together. I'm going to select the L is fine. The Y is fine. The G, I'm just going to attach this. The N should be fine, and everything else should be okay. So I'm going to deselect this, and now I have to double check to make sure everything's fine. I think there's a problem in here. It's weird. Okay, okay. So I've just detached it, I think, the wrong way. It's fine. So what I need to do, I'm just going to attach this to this. Okay, so now these three are attached. It's fine. Now also I can attach this to this, and now I just select these, and I'm going to detach them. So it's fine. It might have sometimes some on errors. It's fine. So now it should be all fine. So I'm just going to select them all. Okay, just make sure they are specific color. For example, in my case, depending on the logo, so it's going to be blue, which is polygon, and FX is red. So I'm just going to select these. I'm going to make them light blue so they can be visible. And this is going to be red. I'm definitely not going to choose exactly the same red, but just to make it easy. Perfect. Now I'm just going to select. I can have these all together, but I'm just going to make them to make them a bit different. So I'm going to extrude these maybe 1 centimeters. Oh, I think it's big. So I'm going to make them 10 centimeters. Okay, and FX, I'm going to extrude it a bit more. So I'm going to make it 20. So to have this kind of depth of it, or maybe the opposite, have this more and less. In here, as you can see, I have different types of rectangles. Okay, so and I have 4 different colors, and I'm gonna make them some kind of 3D. But it's fine. I can just select them in here. If they are well created in After Effects and Illustrator, all I need to do is just select them all, okay, and extrude. Before I extrude, I have to just make sure that I can leave them separate or I can attach them together. So in my case, I'm just going to attach them together, select all, hide selection. I'm going to attach all these together. So I'm going to attach multiple in my case, just going to make sure all the visible shapes. That's why I hide the others. So these are going to be attached. And now I select vertex and I can go from the top to make sure everything's selected. So I'm going to select this vertex, this, and this, and this, this, and this. And I'm going to move them on Z, so right click. On the Z axis, I'm going to move them 10, maybe 20, I don't know. I think 10 should be okay. Okay, and as you can see, the points are Bezier. So I'm just going to select them, convert them to corners, because I want them to be all corners, as in here also. So I'm going to select all, right click, corner. I need it to be more rigid. That's it. Now I can just go select, edit poly, extrude. I'm just going to extrude them maybe 5 centimeters, maybe less, maybe 3. I think 5 is fine. Okay. Now, I have some kind of errors in here, maybe due to many things, okay? I might have some common errors, I didn't realize that before. Just, I'm gonna delete this, just have to make sure that my lines are accurate, okay? So, if they are accurate, then this should be okay, okay? This is okay, this is okay. Sometimes we might end up with this kind of error, but we have to fix it here. So I think I have in here an error. So on this vertex, so I'm just going to select all vertices, make sure they are welded. Maybe there's some are not. Okay, and still I have this issue. It might be something from the extrude of that, but still I'm just going to detach this, make sure it's separate to see the issue of it. So now I'm going to extrude this by itself. Okay, see, it works. So this, oh, now it's all worked. So there was like kind of a bug or something. So I think it's fine. I think the extrusion is a bit big. I'm going to make it 2 centimeters in my case. And as you can see, there's like kind of a bug in here. I just fixed it before. Fine. Okay, so there's a bug in here, but it's fine. Okay, I'm just gonna make sure which one is having some kind of errors. I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna detach it again. Okay, and let's see now. So all are good. Now I'm just gonna extrude this by itself. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing in here. I'm gonna select this. I'm gonna detach it. Okay, I could have done them separately if this is possible, but it's not a big deal. So I do the extrusion for each one by itself. Okay, instead of doing this now, I'm gonna get the errors on and on because they are overlapped. So because the lines are just crossing each other, so it will consider that these two are not attached to each other. So then I have to do it again and again, but it's fine. I should have done it before separately, but it's fine. Okay, I'm just gonna select this. Detach. I should have detached everything. Now maybe I have to do it again, one by one. Okay, as you can see, I'm doing it again and again. I'm going to select these two because they're far away from each other, so I can detach them together. And then I will select them and extrude them together. Okay, so now I got this. Perfect. The thing I was saying, I should have these to be separate. It is better to be separate for one simple reason, because in here I have different colors. So the big rectangles, the triangles are light red. These are darker. These are a bit lighter, and these are dark. So I'm just gonna work with these separately, but so that I can select in here one by one. Okay, so let me do this one more time, but very quickly. So I'm just going to select all these, the big triangles, because they're going to have the same material. I'm going to detach them. Okay, done. So now I select them, extrude. Okay, I'm just going to select these. I still have this one. Okay, my bad. So I still have this big one. and I think I'm done. So I'm gonna detach it. As you can see, it depends. I just worked a bit wrong from the beginning. It's okay. I'm just doing it again. So now I have this and this and this and this. I think I need this. It's fine. I'm just gonna make them red to differentiate them. Now I still have this big one. I'm gonna detach it. Okay, done. And now I select this. Okay, so now I just detached this by mistake and I did it as a copy, it seems. Fine. Just select it again. Okay, as you can see, I have two over here. So it could be a problem from the file, the original file, but I didn't check it for that. Okay, so now I just selected these, and now I can detach the inner parts and then the small area. So I'm just gonna keep these as regular colors. I'm just gonna work with these because they are few less. So I'm gonna select the small rectangles, and I'm just gonna detach them all together, and I'm gonna select them all together and extrude them all together. Okay, as you can see, I think here I have also an issue. Yes, see, I have. I think the problem is from the original file, which I didn't pay attention to, but it's fine, I think. Okay, so now these inner boxes, I'm just gonna give them a color red, but I'm just gonna add the color, so I'm gonna add a very dark red to differentiate between them. Okay, so those going to be dark red, and the other rectangles, which are the rest, is gonna add another color. They should be two different colors, but in my case, just gonna give them the same color just to sake of make it easier. So I'm just getting this kind of logo. Okay, so I'm getting light color from the outside. Okay, I think it should be lighter just to differentiate between them, or maybe these are because very close now. I'm just gonna make this outside. Okay, so I'm gonna select small ones. I'm gonna give it a new color, which is very light, something like that, like really differentiate. And the dark colors, just gonna give them really dark colors. I think it's fine, it's dark. Okay, so this is it. In here, definitely there are two colors, but in my case, I just added one color. And now I'm just gonna right click on hide all. Now I ended up with a 3D logo, and I can start working with that as an animation.